Welcome back. It's been forever since I've uploaded, and for that I'm very sorry. But let's just jump into it. I have this video here that I found. It's called An Honest Review of Women's Suffrage. I guess this is a hot topic right now, and I'd love to jump right into it. I've not watched this channel before, but it's a pretty short video. I think that it is a good way to open up the topic of conversation. So let's just jump right into it, shall we?
Women are capable of many things, but voting well doesn't seem to be one of them. In their defense, men don't vote that well either, but are still considerably better on average.
Okay, can I just say something really quick before we start any of this? I don't think we need to get rid of the right to vote for all women, considering that men are as well. So maybe what we do is introduce some kind of IQ test or some kind of intellectual ability test to determine whether you're capable of applying some sort of cognitive reasoning before voting, and just apply that to everyone and not just take away sex-based rights for women. You know, I will say though that I am open to hearing what this video has to say. I am open to it. But, you know, just keep that in mind. Let's just go back into this.
In this video, we go over the political gender gap, the causes behind it, and some ancient wisdom to give an honest review of women's suffrage. And if you enjoyed, consider subscribing. It helps the channel. First, let's get some basic things out of the way. Contrary to propaganda, we do not live in a patriarchy. Collectively, women have more power in the West than men do. We live in democracies where everyone can vote, and women both outnumber men and have a higher voter turnout. If women voted as one united bloc, they'd win every election. Secondly, women control education through sheer numbers, and as anyone of my generation can attest, will often force their politics down children's throats.
Yeah.
Thirdly, women control the professional environment through HR, again through numbers.
Sure.
To the point where we've even had cases of HR ladies on social media openly saying that if you post right-wing content, they won't hire you and they will ruin your reputation with other companies.
Yeah.
And lastly, the consistent pro-woman bias in family courts have given them asymmetric leverage in marriages.
Yeah, this is all true.
The only power men still have in our societies are reactive. They have the power to use force, for obvious reasons, which they simply don't nowadays. And they have productivity, because despite of all the efforts we went through to get women into the workforce, they have not occupied the essential jobs that keep society running. And I doubt the endless Zoom meetings would be missed. So men could theoretically go on strike, refuse to maintain essential services, and force change. But as long as the status quo remains, women collectively are in charge.
Sure.
So what have they done with all this power? The Greek playwright Aristophanes, referred to as the father of comedy, wrote a play 2,400 years ago where he predicted the outcomes of what would happen if women took control of politics, called the Assembly of Women. His predictions included massive welfare expansion and equity focus, enabling free riding and draining the treasury, hostility to private property and private relationships, erosion of the family unit with the state as a substitute provider, weakened commitment, chaotic dating markets, and ironically fiercer female competition, as well as the punishing of masculine traits, leading to more effeminate men. Aristophanes
so he was a prophet.
eerily prescient, with modern voting data showing women, on average, strongly backing the patterns he warned about. An 8 to 15 point swing over men in favor of increasing welfare beyond its already extensive size, a 20 point swing in favor over men in support of increased gun control, and as much as a 15 point swing over men in favor of mass immigration. And perhaps something not even Aristophanes would have predicted, 56% in favor of killing their own unborn kids.
Which is disgusting. Oh my god. Don't even get me started on this topic.
For any reason. A 15 point gap compared to men. Looking at the downstream social effects, declining families, rising spending, polarization, Assembly of Women feels less like satire and more like a warning. There are two clear patterns here. Firstly, many women are clearly voting to use the state as a substitute husband.
Sure.
Instead of men protecting and providing for their families, The state does it.
Yeah.
But the irony is, the state can only provide for them by taking resources from men. After all, the state itself does not produce anything. In essence, this is a form of forced disenfranchisement against men. Men's naturally advantaged ability to protect and provide was once leverage for them in the dating market, leverage they could use to get a higher quality spouse. But by these being forcefully taken from them and given for free to women, men's value and agency have been vastly reduced.
Sure.
One of the only things nowadays that men get to keep entirely for themselves is their own physical attractiveness. Historically, physical attractiveness is a trait women would use for more leverage in the dating market. But since that's all that men have left for themselves, it explains the recent trend of men becoming so obsessed with their appearance, and as a result becoming...
By the way, can I just say, what's his name? Clavicular is such a oh my god, I can't believe it. Just, oh my god, it's so rough. And the society that we have today is so ass backwards. Are we cooked, chat? Are we cooked? Let's undo this bullshit. Come on now.
More effeminate. People blame dating apps and social media for the extreme focus on male appearance.
No, it's something else.
But the fact that so many other aspects of masculinity have been forcefully substituted by the state seems like the greater cause. Since men are now less incentivized to acquire the necessary masculine skills to protect and provide, they'll do so less, and focus instead on more rewarding feminine traits, and as such the state will have less and less masculinity to draw on, ultimately leading to less provision and protection for society over time, as we're already seeing. There's some nuance though, because while women generally have been treating the state as a substitute husband, there are certain groups of women who will absolutely not vote this way, and in fact despise this behavior. That is, women who themselves have long-lasting successful relationships with men. This isn't true.
Holy shit, as a father. Oh man, that's so true. Oh my god. That's why we have a rise in fatherless behavior. Oh, something's wrong with my avatar, or my camera. Hold on a second. And we're back. Let's continue.
The less successful a woman is in establishing a strong private relationship with a man, the more likely she is to try to use the state to redistribute masculinity towards her.
Sure.
Meanwhile, if a woman is successful in that pursuit, the less likely she is to want to share her man. This is effectively the libertarian versus welfare debate, except proxied through relationships. As such, societies that encourage promiscuity, polygamy, and non-commitment are effectively a form of socialism for undesirable women. As
oh my god! The fucking mind blown. That makes so much sense. Holy shit. Say that again. Say that again.
As such, societies that encourage promiscuity, polygamy, and non-commitment are effectively a form of socialism for undesirable women.
Hold the fucking phone. Let's see about this. I just put it into Grok, you guys. That was crazy. I can't believe he said that. That's nuts. Okay, it says here, first sentence, it says, let me move this over. No, the analogy is strained, selective, and often inverted. It maps a specific set of modern sexual norms onto socialism in a way that borrows the emotional charge of the word while ignoring how both mating systems and economic systems actually work. Traditional pair bonding treats a partner as something closer to exclusive private property, investment, fidelity, long-term claim. Societies that culturally celebrate casual sex, serial non-commitment, or open access therefore socialize sexual romantic resources, removing exclusive claims so that partners become more like a common pool. That's what blew my mind. High-status individuals then capture disproportionate access, as much as political elites capture resources under collective ownership. Polygyny is sometimes folded in an extreme version of the same dynamic. So polygyny is when a man has multiple wives, right? There's a limited descriptive parallel worth noting. Yeah. When exclusive claims are culturally devalued and status hierarchies are allowed to run unchecked, mating markets do become more unequal. A minority of high-status men capture most short-term sexual opportunity. Average men face higher rates of involuntary celibacy or delayed pairing. Pair bond investment and paternal certainty decline on average. Those patterns show up in data on dating app distributions, age gap preferences under high female economic independence, and the correlation between weaker norms of exclusivity and higher rates of single parenthood. The parallel to winner take most under weak property rules is real enough to be worth discussion. Yeah. Socialism is not no rules. Historical socialist systems tended to enforce strong family units, natalist policies, and restrictions on divorce or extramarital sex, precisely because unstable households undermine production and social control. Contemporary progressive sexual norms are far closer to market liberalism applied to sex. Yeah, sure. Individual preference maximization, low transaction costs, contraception plus apps, and reduced social enforcement of long-term contracts. This is the opposite of collective ownership and central allocation. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Polygyny is usually hierarchical, not egalitarian. Classical polygyny, I hope I'm saying that right, concentrates, let's actually figure that out. This is how you win. Learning how to pronounce words. Just put it in there, press this button.
Polygyny.
Yeah, I'm right. Alright, cool. Classical polygyny concentrates wives among high-resource males. It is elite capture, not redistribution. Yeah, that makes sense. But it seems like what we're surrounded by is women who have multiple men, so the opposite. Enforced monogamy has historically functioned as a leveling mechanism, spreading reproductive opportunity more evenly across the male population, reducing the pool of unmated young men who drive violence. In that narrower sense, monogamy looks more redistributive than free access promiscuity. Resources are not fungible the same way. Capital and labor cannot be reallocated by decree. Sexual attraction, pair bonding, psychology, and parental investment cannot. Humans show strong evidence of pair bonding adaptations. Treating partners as common pool collides with those adaptations rather than simply liberating them. There are steeper status hierarchies and lower average investment. Both sides can generate the same outcomes, pure free market mating, and certain forms of progressive cultural pressure against exclusivity both produce high variance in male outcomes and elevated single motherhood. True. The mechanism is different. One is market ranking and the other is ideological devaluation of commitment. But the demographic footprint overlaps. Oh my god, I can't read. It is more accurate to talk about mating market property rights and enforcement costs than to drag the entire vocabulary of a 19th century economic ideology into the bedroom. Yeah, that's a normal way to say that. Yeah, sure. I mean, it was a crazy thing to say that blew my mind. It made sense in that way, but I understand here what is going on. Okay. Let's go back to the video.
As men and women continue to drift apart and fail to establish long-standing relationships, the more appealing this form of socialism becomes for them. This again mirrors Aristophanes' prediction, where in the play the assemblywomen forced men's attention to be shared with less desirable women. The second pattern of female voting is supporting whatever the current thing is.
Yeah, I support the current thing!
Modern-day voting issues, where you see women giving significantly more support to liberal mainstream ideology that we've all been taught in school. But if we rewind the clock some decades back to when mainstream institutions were conservative, you'd see women being more conservative than men. Why? Because it was the current thing. Women are, on average, more agreeable than men. The consequence of agreeableness is the fear of going against the perceived consensus.
Yes, because of the socialization that women are raised to be what they want to fit in with their group. They don't want to be outcast of their group because it's less safe for them. So they want to fit in with their collective, because it's a social safety net. Therefore, when people say on average women are more programmable than men, it's actually true.
As such, women operate less as independent voters, but rather as parrots of institutions. If the dominant institutions are conservative, women will broadly be conservative. If they're liberal, women will broadly be liberal. Naturally, parroting the dominant opinion is not helpful in politics, and actually reinforces political entrenchment, facilitating corruption, lack of scrutiny, and dogmatism.
Oh, yeah.
A deeper issue of suffrage is its effect on the family unit. In healthy societies with strong families, husbands and wives are aligned. They'll vote the same, making the extra votes redundant. However, now you have the political incentive to appeal not to families, but to individuals. And if your platform is generally more appealing to women, especially single women, but not to men, you are now incentivized to push policies that sabotage or delay family formation, or to get wives to vote against their husbands, which causes marital rifts and has happened in recent campaigns.
Ah, yes.
After all, as we've established, generally women in successful marriages will not vote for the state as a substitute husband, thus diminishing your power. This means that at best, women's suffrage is largely redundant, and at worst, it politically incentivizes the subversion of the family, and therefore the future of your nation. Additionally, this is a weakness that's unique to women's suffrage, as while you can somewhat use the state as a substitute husband through the roles of protector and provider, the state is incapable of providing men with what they'd want from a wife. The market, on the other hand, fully exploits single men. But that's a topic for another day. So here's my honest review of women's suffrage. We're now in a situation where family formation is at an all-time low, reckless government spending at an all-time high, men and women are lonelier and more depressed than ever, dominant political institutions are more entrenched than ever, and every single policy that led to these outcomes are consistently upheld by the female vote, in a way so predictable the ancient Greeks were laughing at us over 2,000 years ago. 0 out of 10 would not recommend opening a door for total societal collapse again.
Guys, feminism ruined everything! Holy fuck. Damn. Damn, that's crazy. Enough about women's rights, let's talk about women's wrongs. True. Wow. So, hypothetically, if we took away women's right to vote, would it fix everything? I don't think so. That's why I feel like we should have an IQ test or a cognitive ability test and not just universal suffrage for all or just suffrage for men. You know what I mean? Because to say that all women are pre-programmed to groupthink together, I think diminishes the fact that there are individuals of both sexes. There are some arguments to be made against how things used to be, whereas relationship dynamics before suffrage, women's suffrage, in general, I think that the choice being offered to all people, women and men, I think is a good thing for a forward-moving society. You know, just in case a woman, God forbid, a woman decides to live on her own and never have kids and never marry and whatever. Do you really want to, like, force her to do that? I don't think that we should force her to do that, but, you know, if she passes the IQ test to vote, then I guess, you know, she gets to vote, because I don't think that we should completely throw away the perspective of someone just based on their sex. I'm kind of fundamentally against that idea, but I am anti-retard. I would love if we could get rid of the right for retards to vote. Is that a little too spicy of me to say? Dang. Dang. Dang! We gotta talk about this more. Anyway, holy frickin' macaroni. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm so sorry that it has been 3,000 years since I've uploaded a video, but that's because I've been going through some stuff. Not like crazy, but, you know, a couple major life changes are going on here, so I hope to be back to a regular posting schedule here following this. Thank you very much for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, consider joining my channel membership. I'm thinking about maybe exclusively uploading long-form Yap sessions to members only, since I do cut out a lot of what I say in these videos. Just thinking maybe I shouldn't put that out to be heard by thousands of people that I don't know. Generally, maybe it's a good idea. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!